So you want a cheap Necron army? Well, today I'm going to unbox, build, paint and review the Necron Sentry Pylon in a TT Combat review.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, in today's Necron video we are going to be talking about Necron Pylons, the Sentry Pylon and the Gauss Pylon, or at least the TT Combat equivalents. Now, if you haven't heard of TT Combat before, they make MDF kits, mainly terrain. However, there's a couple of pieces of terrain that look very much like our Forge World Necron Pylons, and that is what I'm going to review in today's video. Now, previously on the channel you may have seen me with this. This is a TT Combat cyber defense platform, Necron Gauss Pylon. However, they do other products as well, including what they call the cyber guns, Necron Sentry Pylons. Now, both of these products are really cheap. Indeed, the cyber guns are only £7 and you get two of them, so £3.50 for one cyber gun. Now, whilst these pylons of course are pieces of terrain, they have the potential to be stand-ins or proxies for the actual Forge World pylons, and that's what I want to have a look at in today's video. Before that though, if you would like to keep up to date with the wonders of Warhammer 40k, then please give me a sub and hit the bell button so you don't miss an upload. Okay, so now it's time to have a closer look at these products. I'm going to have a look at the cyber guns, I'm going to unbox them, build them, paint them and review them, and then I'm going to compare them with the cyber defense platform and also the genuine Necron Gauss Pylon. Okay, so here we are. I have the cyber guns from TT Combat. This is part of their sci-fi gothic range. It's basically MDF, and we have two cyber guns in the packet. So let's get this open. I have a knife here. Get it open and have a look. Now, I have used the TT Combat stuff before, so I know what it's all about, and it's usually really good quality, especially when you consider the price of it. Now, this has some cardboard in here as well, which isn't uncommon. I've seen quite a few MDF kits that also include cardboard. The cardboard, I assume, will just give you some detailing of the model. Indeed, they will be stuck on here. I can see the shape already. And then we have two sheets of this MDF here. Now, these are just basically push out pieces. However, it's a good idea to turn them upside down, because usually there's one section where it's not quite cut out, so you just have to go in with a knife and just cut that section out, and then the piece will pop out like so. So I am going to pop all these pieces out, I'm going to build these, and then I will be back. Okay, so I have my two built. I'm just going to pop in an immortal there to give you an idea of the size. However, we're going to talk more about size and scale later in the video after I painted them. In this section I want to talk about the actual build itself. Now, in terms of instructions, you don't get any instructions with the actual set. However, if you go to the TT Combat website, you will find an instruction manual in PDF format. Now, to be fair, that instruction manual is very poor. I have to be honest, it's not a great instructional manual. Now, I know the kits are pretty basic. It helped that I've already built one kit before the bigger pylon, but if I was quite new to the hobby and new to building MDF, those instructions are not the greatest in the world. However, luckily the kit is quite basic and I was able to work it out. Now, the hardest thing to do is the gun. I knew it would be, because it was the hardest thing on my other kit. Now, my hot tip when building this gun is not to do it how the instruction book says. The instruction book says glue all of these central sections together and then put these side sections on afterwards. Now, if you do that, it's very, very difficult to get them to line up exactly. What I suggest you do is take one of these side sections and then you glue on each individual ring one at a time. And then once you have one side section in, just turn it over and put the other side section in, and then the top and bottom pieces. Definitely the hardest thing to do. I did struggle, like I said, with the instruction book, working out which discs go at the bottom and top, but with an inspection of the pictures of this item I was able to work it out. And indeed, I actually built these with my daughter. Now she's 9 years old. I wouldn't necessarily just give her the kit to build by herself, but we followed along the instructions, we built them together. I built one, she built the other one. The only thing she couldn't do was the gun itself. So it just shows you it is pretty simple. You just have to take your time and don't rush. Now when you're building these, definitely use PVA glue, the white glue, because that gives you time. If you do make an error on gluing something, it's not instantly glued if you used super glue, for example. Now I'd also recommend you actually keep the offcuts from the MDF, because these bits and pieces can be quite useful in the future if you're making other pieces of terrain. So I always keep the offcuts. Okay, so that is them. I think they look really, really cool. You probably saw just a minute ago, they do spin on this section, which again is really nice to see. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint them up, and then I will be back and we'll do a full review. Okay, so there you go, all painted. That took me 1 hour and 45 minutes to paint both of them, so pretty quick. Now if you're wondering how it is to paint on the MDF, I had no trouble at all. I painted them how I normally paint my Necrons. So I dry brushed them with Iron Breaker, and then I dry brushed them with Lead Boucher. I then did a little black wash just in these recesses here. This is just Shining Gold with an Earthshade wash. And then on here we've got Warpstone Green, and then a lighter green, and then I dry brushed it up with both of those colours, both on the little points here and also on these sections just there. And then I went in and did a light little green pattern on that section just to give the gun a little bit of a glow. And that was it. So pretty simple, but I think they look absolutely fantastic. I am really liking them. Okay, so that's them painted. So now we're going to have a review of these, the Sentry Pylon, the Defense Pylon, and the Forge Weld Gauss Pylon. Okay, so here are the pylons all together. Now the first thing to note is if you are planning on using these TT Combat Pylons as actual pylons in your games, now I'm sure you won't have a problem in a friendly game, but if you are trying to play them competitively, you will need to check before the event that you're actually able to use these models in your army. Now as you can see, the Gauss Pylon, the genuine Forge Weld one, which is just there, stands at 11.5 inches tall. It's a pretty big model. Not many people realise actually how big it is. Of course, the Defense Pylon, this one here, is a lot smaller. In actual fact, it's 9 inches tall as opposed to 11.5 inches tall. So a good few inches smaller. Now, as I said, in friendly games, I'm sure you'll get away with it. I'm sure people won't mind. As I said, a lot of people don't actually realise how big this is, so they probably will think that this is the actual size of the Forge Weld one. But it is something to bear in mind. If you are planning to use these as Gauss Pylons, it is a lot smaller than the genuine one, so just be mindful of that. Now, in terms of the cyber guns, or the Sentry Pylons on the right hand side there, I don't own the genuine Forge Weld one, but on the Forge Weld website it says that the Sentry Pylon is just under 6 inches tall, and these TT Combat ones are exactly just under 6 inches tall, so an ideal size. However, the shape is slightly different with only one arc. I'll put a picture of the genuine one up now for you to see the difference. There is a bit of a difference, but once again, in a friendly game, I'm sure you'll have no issue at all with that. I think most people will accept them as pylons. As you can see, they all look like pylons, and they all look pretty awesome. I am very happy with my two that I've just purchased. Indeed, I am going to purchase some more. So keep an eye out for some more pylon videos coming up on the channel. In the meantime though, I'm going to link you up to a video that I made about the Gauss Pylon and the Sentry Pylon, about their rules and tactics for using them. Now if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, hit the icon at the end of the video to keep up to date with the wonders of Warhammer 40k. Beam me up!